Hello and welcome back to the Startup Diaries, Chronicles of a Critical Thinker, where startups come alive through the eyes of a visionary mind. Today we are diving into a topic that is at the core of every successful startup journey: critical thinking. Critical thinking is one skill that turns good ideas into great ones, helps you navigate challenges, and guides you when you are standing at a crossroad, not sure which path to take. Now, I am talking about building your own toolkit. Critical thinking is a set of methods and mental habits that every entrepreneur needs to make smart, informed decisions. Now, let us break it down. First up, let us talk about identifying biases. One of the greatest barriers to critical thinking is our own mind's tendency to latch onto what we want to believe instead of what is true. Confirmation bias can make you see what you want to see and making you blind to real risk and opportunities. But the key here is to always challenge your assumptions. Ask yourself, why do I believe this? What evidence supports it? And most importantly, what evidence could disprove it? Successful entrepreneurs actively look for reasons they could be wrong, because only by confronting uncomfortable truths can you grow and make smart decisions. Let me share a real example here of how identifying biases saved a business from a costly mistake. There was a startup I worked with. We can call them Greenfit. Greenfit was developing a new fitness tracker for niche athletes. The team was convinced that the product was a game changer because they were so emotionally attached to the idea that they ignored early customer feedback. One customer said, "I don't see why I would need this when I already have my smartwatch." And it wasn't until they sought for my advice that they realized they were suffering from confirmation bias. They were only seeing what they wanted to see, not what was really there. They went back, challenged their assumptions, and pivoted their product to add features that address what the market actually needed. That is the power of critical thinking. Being willing to admit you could be wrong and using that to improve your approach. Next, we'll have a tool that is very simple but incredibly powerful. It is called the 5 whys techniques. When you are faced with a problem, don't just look at the surface level. Instead, ask yourself why 5 times. Each answer leads you deeper until you find the root cause. By asking why again and again, you are digging past the symptoms to find the actual problem. It is not enough to say the launch didn't work. You need to understand why it didn't, whether it is a marketing issue, a product issue, or a misunderstanding of customers' needs. Always use the 5 whys to get to the heart of your challenges and address them effectively, rather than getting stuck to quick fixes that don't work in the long run. Take a local shop I recently worked with. For example, they noticed a drop in repeat customers. Rather than jumping to conclusions, they used the 5 whys. By asking why multiple times, they realized the real issue wasn't the coffee or the decor. It was that new staff weren't trained properly, leading to inconsistent services. Once they addressed staff training, customer loyalty started to rise again. This is the kind of insight the 5 whys can unlock for your business. Another tool to rely on is scenario analysis. In entrepreneurship, the future is unpredictable, but that doesn't mean you can't prepare for it. Scenario analysis involves imagining different possible futures, the best case, the worst case, and everything in between. For example, take a potential product launch. What happens if your customers love it? How will you handle rapid demand? Now, what happens if it doesn't go as planned? Do you have a backup strategy? These are very important questions to ask. Scenario analysis forces you to think ahead. It doesn't make the future certain, but it prepares you to respond more effectively no matter what comes your way. I remember working with a tech startup developing an innovative app for language learning. They were excited about launching globally, but we used scenario analysis to plan for multiple outcomes. We explored different situations like, what if a competitor launched similar product right after them? What if adoption rates were slower than expected? And by preparing responses for each scenario, they were ready no matter what happened. And when they did face unexpected competition, they had already laid out strategies to differentiate and win the market share. One of my favorite approaches to problem solving is first principles thinking. This is all about breaking a problem down to its fundamental components. Forget about assumption, forget about what everyone else is doing. Strip it down to what you know to be true. Think of it like this. Rather than saying, I can't start a hospital or I can't start that business because it is too expensive, you should break down each aspect. Like, what makes it expensive? How can I reduce costs? Are there innovative ways to achieve the same goal without traditional expense? This kind of thinking doesn't just help you solve problems. It helps you innovate. This is exactly how I approached building the Rebel Therapeutic Studio and Hospital. And instead of accepting the limitations of traditional hospitals, I asked, what are the core elements of healing? And how can we do them differently to make lasting recovery accessible? So there you have it, a critical thinking tool for entrepreneurs. 1. Identify your biases. 2. Ask the 5 whys. 3. Imagine different scenarios. And 4. Think in the first principles. These are not just strategies. They are a mindset that will guide you through the ups and downs of the startup world. Remember, success doesn't come from luck. It comes from critical thinking, being prepared, and having the courage to break down problems and build innovative solutions. Thank you for joining me today on the Startup Diaries. And if you are ready to think deeper, push further, and redefine what is possible, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on your notification so that you will be the first to know when I upload new videos. Until next time, keep questioning, keep challenging, and most importantly, that future you envision is in you and it starts now.